Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Raz, the semi-retired samurai. And on this channel, if you're new here, I talk about life after 50 and living life on your own terms. Now, 6 months ago, I started to take YouTube very seriously. And surprisingly, I got monetized within 2.5 months. And I was told by one YouTuber, a veteran YouTuber, that that was actually quite quick. So I was very fortunate to have that happen to me because a lot of times I heard it takes about 2 years for a lot of people. And I averaged probably roughly around $300 a month in ad revenue over the 6 months. And, it's not life-changing money. Obviously, I cannot retire off of it, but that did cover some groceries and a couple dinners per month, which was not a bad start. But something happened when I received those first payments, and that I wasn't really expecting, because I've tried, making money online over the years, and anywhere from Amazon book publishing to Etsy to drop shipping, different little experiments over the years. And I really didn't make a lot of money, maybe a few dollars here and there. And, most of them, completely flopped. But I have to tell you, YouTube felt a lot different. And for the first time in my life, I could actually see the possibilities of continuing to do work that I enjoy in my retirement years. Making income that wasn't tied to a specific location. That, to me, is very exciting. And to be honest, the $300 that I averaged per month wasn't the most important part. Because, the dream of mine really actually started years ago regarding online income. And I started to, I think it was back in the year 2000, I came across a course as I was surfing on making money, selling ebooks online. Now, I don't remember the gentleman's name. I just remember seeing a photo of him sitting in some cafe in Europe somewhere, and then another picture of him on an island somewhere. And I thought, wow, that pretty cool. I didn't know that was possible, to make income and, not be at a location physically. So I thought to myself, wow, that guy's got the life. And I bought the course. I think it was for $97 or $47, something like that. And I didn't make any money out of it. And at the time, you needed some technical skills, and I didn't have the technical skills to build a website and so forth. So what I built was horrible. And but I didn't give up, because I came across a book that I read about the laptop lifestyle, and a very old book, but it kind of stayed in my mind for all these years. And so back in 2016, I created an Instagram account called the White Belt Warriors, where I taught jiu-jitsu to beginners around the world and helping them solve their problems. So I was, filming free content that I posted on there. And within 3 months, it had grown to about from 0 to 15,000 followers. And I thought, wow, this is incredible. And I decided, hey, let's try to monetize this. So I created a course on a platform called Teachable. And I didn't know really what I was doing. I just decided to put it up and to see what happened. And that course, without advertising, just through organic traffic, generated me about $6,000 in sales. Now, once again, it's not retirement money, retired to the Bahamas money, but it taught me one thing. That was that, hey, this online income business can work. But the one thing that really I think I'll never forget, was hearing the ping and notifications on my phone, getting a message from PayPal to say that I got paid and funds in my account. And I don't know about you, but when you hear that, it's like, wow, this is really cool, because I've run martial arts schools for a long, long time, and they are very, like any bricks and mortar business, they're very location dependent. You need to get a physical space. You have to pay for a lease. You need to be there, and I loved it a lot. I really did. But I eventually started thinking about, you know, what would the second chapter of my life look like if if I can build an online income business, and because I really wanted more freedom where I want to be, and travel was one of those things I always wanted to do ever since I was a little kid, and that little Instagram account and that $6,000 that of sales that I made on that course really showed me that online income or making online income was very real. By all means, it's definitely not easy. It's definitely not automatic, but I always knew that in my heart that I was going to come back to it. But the problem, I think, for many of us who are thinking about creating online income is that we get shiny object syndrome. We see things that advertisements that say, oh, make money doing this, or make money doing drop shipping, make money printing T-shirts, whatever it is. And I think the problem is you get so your focus gets shifted to so many of these things, and you have to ask yourself, well, what do I really enjoy? What are my strengths? And for me, I didn't enjoy writing, so I don't know why I got into KDP or anything like that. But I always enjoyed being in front of the camera. I enjoyed speaking to people. I enjoy interacting with people, whether in online space or more importantly, I really enjoy talking to people face to face as well. So it's obviously that YouTube would be the platform that I was definitely going to excel at. And you want to really do something that you really enjoy getting up every morning to do, because if you don't, then you're just going to create another job that you really don't like, right? And so the channel, is incredible, because I get to read all your guys' comments, and hearing people's share their opinions and stories from around the world is really, for me, inspiring. And like I said, it took 2.5 months to get monetized, and averaging $300 a month. Even though it's not that much, I considered it a win, right? And now, because of that, I got to see how the internet works. And you see advertisements all the time of these gurus with their fancy rented, mansions and Lamborghinis, saying, telling you to, trying to convince you to buy their course, and saying that they, made $50,000 a month on YouTube or something like that. But, I don't think most of us who are in our 50s now, Gen Xers, or even the boomers, we don't have the energy for that stuff anymore. And we want peace of mind, because and I think what the $300 ad revenue did for me was it gave me a psychological lift that hey, this online thing can help subsidize a part of my retirement, right? If everything goes well. And, why not? I mean, you get paid to talk in front of the camera and post videos and chat with other people around the world. And I think, the other thing about YouTube is when I start to, look at, the business aspect of it, I was always thinking to myself, how much can I make? How much can I scale it by? And all these are very reasonable questions, but like I said, I'm 57 now, and I don't have the energy or even want to create the next
big thing like an Amazon, and I don't want 200 employees. I certainly don't want an office, and I definitely don't want to be in more meetings. So what do I want, and what do I think people our age really want? I think what we really want is freedom of our time. And that's how I looked at the $300 in ad revenue. And the other question is, I think many of us, at least for me, is what if I don't actually want to retire? I mean, traditional retirement, I mean, for my parents, I think for our parents is, you work, you save, you invest, and you do that for 30 or 40 years, and eventually you accumulate enough money so that somebody gives you the permission to stop. And there's nothing wrong with that, but what are you actually retiring from? Because if you hate your job, or you have to commute every day for 2 hours each way, I can understand why you want to quit your job and retire. And but I want to change, I guess, the way you think about retirement. And here's the alternative. What if you can retire and still make money, but be in a different location, right? A desired location where you want to be. Maybe on an island, maybe it's in another city, or maybe it's on the countryside. And what if making videos can generate you that income? Wouldn't you want to do it? I mean, for me, I always want to travel in my semi-retirement and spend longer than a couple of weeks in different locations around the world. And most importantly, I really want to control my time. Now, I want to be clear on something, that is that YouTube, I'm not saying, you should just quit your job and rely on YouTube to make enough money to retire, because I don't know, if that, is going to happen for many of us, or even myself, to make, a lot of money out of it, or even like a few $1,000s, because YouTube controls everything. So they can cut you off the next day. They can cancel your channel, but that's out of our out of our control. But I don't plan on relying on ad revenue and YouTube because of that. But I believe that many of you guys have so much potential. I mean, if I can make $300 on ad revenue, what's stopping you guys from making 500 or 1,000 or more per month? You guys have so much experience, all your years' experience of work and life and everything, and I think there's so many people out there that would love to hear your wisdom and knowledge. And there's not a lot of people who are Gen Xers that are boomers who are content creators or influencers online. And I think that's a great opportunity to explore these options. And I think there's another piece that many of us don't think about, and that is, what is our purpose in life? Because when we all talk about retirement, we talk about the financial aspect of it. How much do you need? All these things, but we don't talk about what we're actually going to do with our day with all this free time. And because we spent 30 to 40 years working Monday to Friday, solving problems, having people expect things from us, and then suddenly one day you retire and it's all gone. So what's replacing it? And I know from my experience, after semi-retiring a few years ago, the days that are a little bit more quiet, I have to say they become a little bit boring, because it's not like your friends are calling you to go out, because a lot of them are still working, right? Or maybe they can't afford to retire, so you're kind of off on your own. And I know that I'm going to get some comments from people as, "Oh, I know what to do all day. I'm so busy," and all that. Well, maybe that's good for you if you do, but I think the majority of people will get bored if you don't fill your time with something. I know for my father, it's since he retired from his business, it's almost like he's he doesn't know what to do with himself. You can only golf so much, and you can only drink so much coffee with friends, and then but what's there left, right? And I think by creating an online business, whether it's YouTube or whatever you decide to do, I think it gives you a reason to get up in the morning. I know for myself, I've got tons of ideas before I go to bed. I respond to all you guys' comments in the morning when I wake up and before I go to bed at night. And I'm thinking about the next interesting topic that I can film and share with you guys, right? So, and it's the exciting part is actually, seeing the channel, just grow over time. And I think, so I'm very excited for the future. And I think I want you guys to have that same feeling that I'm feeling these days as well. So I know 6 months for a channel is not very long, but the growth of the channel has given me enough evidence for me to keep going with the channel and to keep on experimenting, because as a martial artist, people see me as a black belt. They're thinking, wow, it's almost like you finally reached that pinnacle of your martial arts career. And I was like, no, because I always look at the black belt as always a white belt that's forever a white belt, because I'm always learning. And it's fascinating how much I learn as a martial artist about things that are very basic things that I didn't even know, right? And just sharing ideas with other veteran martial artists. So it's always good to humble yourself and always forever be a student. And I think that's what makes life very exciting. So I'm curious to hear from all of you. How do you guys picture your retirement? Do you guys actually want to stop working, or would you want to continue to do some form of work that's meaningful but completely on your own terms? Feel free to comment below. I'd love to hear from all of you. And if this video resonated with you, please feel free to like, share, or subscribe. And feel free to check out my next video. And I will talk to you guys next time. Take care and bye for now.